What's up, fellow garage golfers? Roland here with Garage Golf, where we provide extraordinary golf info for the extraordinary golfer. Today we came into the sim, noticed a brand new update to the Skytrak application, version 3.2. Wanted to do a quick video for you guys to let you know what's all entailed in that update. Stay tuned and check it out. Okay guys, welcome back. Let's go ahead and take you straight into the application so we can give you some details as to what Skytrak just released. Okay, so here we are directly on the Skytrak website. I wanted to walk you guys through the update real quick. You now have the ability to download either the 32-bit version or the 64-bit version, depending upon which PC you're using for this download. So this is a download that is geared towards PC, version 3.2 for Windows. So wanted to give you guys an update as to what they basically updated with this application. Really, the biggest feature that they did was they added what is called a Wedge Matrix, which allows you to go through different shots with your wedges. I'll walk you through that here in just a second. So basically, here's version 3.2, release 5/29/18. So the new feature added to the game improvement is what's called the Wedge Matrix. And what you'll do is you'll go through with your 4 wedges, which is your pitching wedge, your gap wedge, your sand wedge, and your lob wedge. And you'll hit different shots with it. One at a quarter speed, one at half speed, one at 3/4, and then one at full speed. So you have the ability to pick how many shots you want to hit. For example, when I went through it myself, I went ahead and hit 5 shots for each type of wedge. So in other words, I hit 5 shots at a quarter, I hit 5 shots at a half speed, 5 shots at 3/4, and 5 full shots with the lob wedge, for example, and then you work your way all the way up through the 4 wedges. And what it does is it shows you your gapping distances and different things of that nature with that wedge matrix. So you know when you're on the course, if you're going to swing a half shot, say for example with a lob wedge, you're going to know how far that half shot's going to go for the most part. And basically what I did was I picked 5 shots, but I only picked the best 3. So we'll average the best 3 shots to give you a really fine-tuned detail as far as what you can expect with that particular club and at that particular speed, whether it be a lob wedge at half speed or say a gap wedge at full speed. You're going to be able to get a really good idea as to what shot you need to take on a course by working through this wedge matrix, which is really cool. Again, also they did add a 64-bit PC option. So my computer is a 64-bit, gives you the ability to download that particular download for your PC type there. Also, they did update the tracers. The ball tracers are new. I'll show you that through some of the shots that we take in the video. But the ball tracers look a little bit more defined, a little bit more updated, a little thinner, so you can see the ball more, which I really like. I think that's a cool update that Skytrak's done on this application. They also added a shortcut for the tap spin dial on the range, so you can now basically toggle that to the spin axis on the range itself, which is really cool without having to go through the menu. They also added max height and angled descent to the practice range. So you're going to be able to see that detail now on the practice range to see what your max height is for that particular club that you're using, as well as the angle of descent on that practice range. They also added a shot counter to the practice range that you can now scroll through. You can scroll through everything and then replay or delete the old shots. So you can go through different shots through that practice range. You can scroll through them, see what those shots are. You can show replays of it. All really cool stuff, I think. And then also the 45-degree camera view was adjusted as well. I also noticed when you adjust offset, so one of the things I'd like Skytrak to do next time they do an update is when they do an update, I'd like for it to not change your offset that you've already preset. So in other words, every time they do an update, I have to go back in and adjust the offset in my simulator since my mat's not directly in the middle of the screen, so I got to go back through it. So I'd like for them to be able to add that ability to now keep the previous offset. So I went back in there and I adjusted it, but I noticed it looks slightly different this time, which made it a little harder to offset, but it's definitely something that they've updated. So for better or worse, it's definitely something that's changed a little bit. But for future updates, I like to not have to go back through that and reset my offset. So that's one thing I'd like for them to work on. In addition, obviously, numerous bug fixes and improvements that they've worked on through the application update. But again, the biggest thing as far as this particular update is the wedge matrix. I'd like to walk you guys through that here a little bit. I'll take some shots for you, not all shots, of course, but I'll take a few shots just so you can see how it works. And then in the end, I'll kind of show you the numbers to give you an idea what that wedge matrix is doing on paper so you can get an idea of what shot you need to take in a particular circumstance or something of that nature. So when you're on the course, it's going to help you out, give you a really good idea. Okay, do I need to take a 3/4 shot here with this lob wedge, or can I do a full shot? That's what this wedge matrix is going to do for you. Okay, so here we are back in the application. I'm going to go ahead and walk you through how to get to that wedge matrix. So first of all, we go into game improvement here on the right, click on that, and you'll now see that the wedge matrix has been added here on the right side. We still have bag mapping as well as the skills assessment, but the newest feature of 3.2 is the wedge matrix, so we'll go ahead and click on that here, and it's going to go ahead and start that wedge matrix right away for you. And here it also welcomes you to the wedge matrix. Similar to the clock drill, you will use 4 different swing lengths for each club in this exercise. So you'll use a pitch, 1/2 swing, 3/4, and a full swing. When finished, you can use the matrix out on the course to help you choose the best club and swing length combination for any given shot. Then it asks if you want to begin. So we'll go ahead and click on begin here to start this process. All right, now we're into wedge matrix setup. It's going to ask you if you're right hand dominant, left hand. So in my case, I'm right handed. And if you want to see main distance view, total distance, or carry distance, in my case, I always leave it at total. That's the preset. And then here's where you can adjust how many shots you want to take. So if you want to do more than, say, 5 shots, you can definitely change that here. You can change it to as many as 10. So in my case, I'm going to leave it at 5. And then the best shot selected, I'm going to go ahead and pick the top 3 out of that 5 for you. And here's where you can go ahead and go through that wedge matrix to pick which wedge you have. So in my case, I do have a pitching wedge, a gap wedge, a sand wedge, and a lob wedge. If you want to name them something different or pick the degree of the wedge, you can do that as well. And that's what we'll go ahead and do here. But for my case, we have it set up the right way. Go ahead and click off of that. And then we're going to go ahead and click apply to start that wedge matrix process. All right, so now it shows you which club is up next, and we're going to start with that lob wedge, which is club number 1. And we're going to be hitting 5 pitch shots with the lob wedge. So let's get started with that. Okay, so I don't know if you guys can see it or not on my screen behind me because of the lights here in the studio, but I do notice that the offset looks a little different. I talked to you about that previously. You see the center line, when I bring up the next screen, you'll see the center line dispersion line right down the middle, which is in line with where I'm hitting here. But for some reason under the wedge matrix, it kind of is at an angle. So if I'm looking at the screen, it's kind of going this way, which is a little different. So I can't get that to line up straight with where I'm hitting here in the simulator for whatever reason. I'm not sure how that's going to affect shots or not, but it's something that I did notice that's different than before. So we'll take a couple shots with it, get started. I did go ahead and set up the Sky Pro as well. If you don't know how to set up the Sky Pro to use with Skytrak, check out some of our previous videos where I walk you through how to do that. But we are going to get accurate club head speed as well throughout today's video. So as you can see, the number for the swing speed is in orange, which means that the Sky Pro is connected and accurately working. So we're going to go through this process a little bit more with some of these chip shots, and then we'll work our way up. All right, so that's 5 shots down with the pitch. So now we're going to work our way up to the half swing. Moving on, now we're going to the 3/4 swing with the lob wedge.
Malfunction. Malfunction.
All right, so I've taken 2 3/4 swings with a lob wedge and still hasn't read it yet. So does anybody else have problems with taking full shots or 3/4 shots with a 60 degree? I know I have. Let me know in the comment section below if you've had an issue with that as well. on to the full swings. After about 15 misreads, I'm on to the full swing now.
Now, action.
Okay, so after numerous misreads, we're done with the lob wedge, thank God. Now we're going to move on to the sand wedge. I'll go ahead and go through the sand wedge, the gap wedge, and the pitching wedge. We'll come back to you in the end, show you all the data, let you take a look at it and see what we came up with for this wedge matrix. All right, so all 80 shots down. Let's get to the numbers. I'll take you to the screen, show you the numbers. Bear with me on the shots. I'm still working on my swing as per my last video. So the numbers aren't where I want them to be, but I wanted to show you that matrix. So let's take a look at it. We'll get you some data and show you what that wedge matrix does. All right, so here we are in the wedge matrix, and you'll see the lob wedge on the top, sand wedge, gap wedge, pitching wedge. And it shows you basically what you're doing down the line here. So you'll start with the lob wedge. A pitch on the lob wedge was 22 yards for me on average. Half swing was 31, three-quarter swing was 38, and a full swing was 42. So again, my numbers are not where I want them to be. I'm working on my swing. I'm trying to figure it out. But anyways, wanted to show you guys how this would work. Sandwich, 26, half swing 39, three-quarter swing 48, full swing 49. So you see, obviously, something's going on there. Three-quarter swing, full swing, pretty close. But that's all really more me as a golfer failing as far as what I want to do. Gap wedge, 40, 54, 60, 65. And then finally the pitching wedge, 40, 61, 68, 75. So my normal pitching wedge is around 105. So I'm just really having a hard time. I need to get some lessons going or something, get working on these numbers. But wanted to show you, these are carry distances. Here's total distances across the top, so you can change it to which one you want. And you see the numbers change there. But this gives you an idea, as far as what you want to do. If you want to work on what you want to carry the ball, that will kind of give you an idea as far as what you need to do with your wedges. And you can export this and I believe print it out, all that kind of stuff. So at least you have an idea as far as what you're working on. I think it's really cool to get that data to work on it. Again, the only complaint I have is that with the lob wedge, I must have taken an extra 40 to 50 shots. And I'm not sure if that's my Skytrak or if that's an issue with the application, but I've noticed it, with other applications as well, like Jack Nicklaus Perfect Golf. Skytrak seems to be having an issue getting and tracking a full shot on a lob wedge, even a three-quarter shot. So if anybody else has had that issue and has been able to correct it as far as ball placement or what you do, let me know in the comments section, please, so we can give some heads up to other people who are watching these videos. But hopefully you guys enjoyed this wedge matrix. I wanted to show that to you. That's really the meat and potatoes of this app upgrade. I'm looking forward to see what else Skytrak comes out with. Also, before we go, I wanted to show you the dispersion circles as well, so you can see where the shots basically landed as far as average total. This is per club. You can go through each screen, get an idea on what the average total is, what the offline tendency is, what your shot dispersion is, and it gives you a really good idea as far as what you're doing with each particular club. And you can go all the way through sand wedge, gap wedge, and then finally pitching wedge to get an idea on what your dispersion is, what your offline tendency is for three-quarter, half shots, pitches, everything. So all in all, really good upgrade to the Skytrak application. Also, real quick, I wanted to show you the different look of the shot tracer now. It's a little thinner, allows you to see the ball a little bit better. Let me show you a replay on my last shot. So you see now, you see the ball a little bit better as far as when you hit a shot. It's a little thinner tracer line, which is really cool if you have more than one. If you want to keep up 5 or 10 at a time, it gives you an idea as far as what the ball has done, but without blocking up the whole screen. So I really like that they changed the tracer. That's pretty cool, and you can see the ball a little bit better as well now. Also, if you notice on that shot, if you look on the right side once it's done, let me show it to you one more time. Some of the new features that they added is down here at the bottom, you'll see the height, 23 yards, the descent angle, 52 degrees. So that's also a new addition that they've added as well to the application, which is nice to be able to know. And this is going to average out your shots, I believe, once you hit more than one. You could also change the side spin to now spin axis. This is also one of the more recent upgrades as well. So you see that the side spin on the shot was 1186. This is with a 9-iron. And then if I click on the arrow here, you'll now see that the spin axis was 9 degrees. So that's really cool. And then total spin also over here is 7580. So that changed. You got 7487 backspin. And if we change it over here, it changes the backspin on the left side as well to total spin of 7580. So that's also a new upgrade with the Skytrak application. Let me hit one more shot for you. I want to show you another upgrade that they did with the application as well. Okay, so horrible shot aside, if I click on the replay now, you can see there will be more than one shot that shows up on the screen. Just like before, you can save up to 100 or 50, I believe. But now you can actually go through each individual shot here on the left side with the arrow meter. Click on that and go back to that shot and watch it. So that's nice to be able to go through your shots and kind of take a look at what you've done, what the numbers have been, what's been a good strike, what has not been a good strike. Go through them. And then individually delete shots if you want to as well. Like that poor second shot I took, I can delete it just to average like good shots only as far as what you're doing. So that's also a really neat feature that's been added. Now, one last feature that they changed was they changed the camera angle on the 45-degree camera. So this is not one that I normally use, to be honest. So it kind of gives you a different view. But that's one that they've changed. So I'll take one more shot and I'll show you it on the replay just so you can see. Okay, so just to show you that shot again on the replay, this is the 45-degree camera angle. I don't really think you see much from this angle. It's not really one of my favorite angles. I use the follow ball camera. I think it's a much better camera angle, but this is one of the ones that they changed for this particular upgrade. And of course, you have different angles you can choose from, of course. Show you if you're looking at it from a first-person view. That kind of gives you an idea of what it does. You can do a dynamic view, which kind of shows you from down course as far as what you did. That's kind of a cool one. TV angle. And there's a downrange view, pure downrange view. That's up from a little bit of a higher angle as well, but too far away in my opinion. And then of course the one I use, which is the follow ball, which I think is the best one that they have. And you can get a better feel for where the ball goes or how short it goes, especially if you're using a 9-iron like on that shot. And that's pretty much it, guys. I just kind of wanted to show you what the Skytrak app has been upgraded to, version 3.2. I think they did some really good upgrades as far as the application is concerned. I like the ability to change certain items like side spin to side axis and see all that on one screen without having to go over here to the shot history and look at it. So I think that's a really good upgrade. I like to have everything on the main screen, and for you to be able to cycle through all your shots, all that kind of information, I really like that. I think that's a good upgrade, so that way you're not having to change screens. If you want to look at numbers at the end, that's fine. But to have everything on one screen, to me, is really a much better option in my opinion. Okay, so that was a long, exhausting video today. As you can tell, we hit a bunch of shots. Not all of them good. Definitely something that I'm working on still with my shot. It's not really about what my shots are doing or what my numbers are doing. It's really more about showing you guys at home what the Wedge Matrix is as far as what Skytrak has done with their most recent update to version 3.2. Hopefully it's something you guys will really enjoy. I know I enjoyed it. We still need to work on a lot of those mysteries with the Skytrak. So the lob wedge, even 3/4 shots, I wasn't reading a lot of them. So if there's any input out there that anyone has for me, please let me know. I'd love to get some feedback. I don't know if it's just my unit. People at Skytrak, if you're watching, I'd love some feedback as well as far as where to be placing the ball for lob wedge shots, because I probably had to take 30 or 40 more shots than I wanted to with the lob wedge, which was really draining and really exhausting. I probably hit over 150 shots today. So definitely something that we need to get some work done on, I think. But overall, the Skytrak application version 3.2, I'm really happy with it. I liked all the things that they did. I really thank you guys for hanging out with us. It was really important to me that you guys like the content that we provide. If you do like it, please consider giving us a big thumbs up. It's definitely something that we love to see. And if you have not yet done so, please consider subscribing to our channel. Definitely helps us out. Every subscription really helps. So as always, thanks again for hanging out with us, and keep on golfing.